Hi everybody, this is Bonnie with Bonnie Bay Crochet and welcome to video number 2 of Crochet Cappuccino Throw. If you're coming to this video first and haven't seen video number 1, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead, check the video description. I will have the link for video number 2 and you can start with that because in video number 1, we've already completed the cup portion of this throw. Now, in video number 2, we're going to continue on with the cabling. I'll go ahead and put a picture of this throw in here again. We're going to continue with the cables, and as they dissolve into steam, they are going to disappear. Let me go ahead and show the top part of this again. Okay. And we're also going to work on the hearts border that goes completely around the throw. And I think you'll find that very relaxing and quite easy. Now, one other thing about this throw I'm going to include towards the end is blocking. This throw, as you can imagine, because of the cables, which tend to pull the fabric in a bit, this is going to need to be blocked, and I'm highly recommending that you wet block this. If you're looking for blocking supplies, it just doesn't have to be complicated, but I do have some listed in the video description toward the bottom. The blocking mats and as well as the pins, they're actually blocking combs that I used, were very effective, and believe it or not, makes blocking the project a joy, or as close to a joy as you can get to it. Having good materials, good tools tend to do that. Also, as an added reminder, should you have any questions about front crosses or back crosses, remember I do have extra videos in the video description below. You can check them out, or you can check some of my other Celtic Aran stitch videos should you need any support for how to crochet these cables. This cabling system is unique to my work. It's something that I developed over the years. So check that out, see if that can help you. Sometimes the back crosses can be a little more challenging, but honestly, once you learn how to work the back crosses, which is working behind stitches, but yet working front post treble crochets, once you understand how that works, it really does demystify the whole cabling process. All right, well, let's go ahead and continue on with our beautiful cables. Okay, we have completed the cup. Let me give you a view of this beautiful handle. And don't worry if the blanket is a little wavy in some places, because we can block this and take a lot of that out at the end. Okay, so we have the cup completed. So now we're ready to do a border row. And let me go ahead and show you what we're going to use for this. We're going to use the next lighter colored yarn, and just to give you the number, this is color number 209, and we are just going to work 2 rows of single crochet, and I'll go ahead and get you started on that. So I'm going to add this to the last stitch of row 55. We're going to go ahead and just pull that on through, and I'm going to just chain 1, and then we're going to turn. We'll have the front side facing us for the first row, and we're just going to work single crochets, 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across. When we get to the end of the row, we're going to chain 1 and work a row of single crochets all the way to the other side. Okay, after that we will be ready to start laying the foundations for our cables. So for the record, this will be row 56, and the row that follows will be row 57. After that, we're going to start with a new numbering system, just so that it's easy to keep track of the cables that we're going to be creating. And for the record, this is the color that we're going to be using for the cables. This is color number 207. All right, this is what we should have after completing 57 rows. Go ahead It's kind of hard to show you all of it at once, but we do have a beautiful cup here. So now we're going to transition to the cabling section. So after these 57 rows, we're going to start our numbering system all over again. And this is going to do a couple things. It's going to make it easier to understand the cable rows going forward. So I'm going to go ahead and try to explain this. I'm going to put a photo right here of the finished throw, and looking from right to left, I'm going to name each of these cables. We have a 3-stitch cable, and then the next cable is a 5-stitch cable, which is kind of like the 4-post cable but with a half double crochet in between. We have a large honeycomb cable, which is a 15-stitch cable. Then we have a wavy cable, which is a 7-stitch cable. Then we have a crazy changing cable in the center, which is a 19-stitch cable. Then on the other side, this is all symmetrical. We have a wavy cable again, then the large honeycomb cable, 5-post cable, and then a 3-stitch cable. Okay, so that's all the way across the top of the cup. Now each of these cables have different numbers of rows in order to complete them. Okay, I'll go from right to left again. The 3-stitch cable is just a 2-row repeat. The 5-stitch cable also is a simple 2-row repeat. The large honeycomb now is a 10-row repeat. The wavy cable, an 8-row repeat. The large changing cable in the center is a 20-row repeat. And again, continuing the other way, this again, the symmetrical side, again, the wavy cable, 8-row repeat. The large honeycomb, a 10-row repeat. The 5-stitch and the 3-stitch are both just 2-row repeats. Okay, so all of this to say, this is a bit complicated, to say the least. And because of that, I think it's really helpful to have a copy of the written pattern if you haven't invested in that already. I think this is going to just be very helpful on a number of fronts. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to demonstrate how these are worked. I'm going to do the next 20 rows or so. And if you watch the repeat of this, going back to row 1, as I'm going to show you, it will be consistent with the exception of the wavy cable. And it's just simply because it's just on a different multiple. It's repeating every 8 rows rather than every 10 rows. So that's going to be a little different. But I think once you start working these cables and understanding how each of them looks, then you'll understand better. This is more visual than you would think. There are many people out there who are beginners who've learned to work these cables without an issue. So hopefully practice will help you with that. Well, let me go ahead and start. This is going to be effectually row 1 of the cable section. We're going to start with a chain 2, and we're returning back to our half double crochets. So go ahead and we're going to work 20 half double crochets, and then we will start the cables. All right, after working 19 stitches, now we're going to work the 20th stitch, and we're going to bring in the cream color. Let me go ahead and give you some information on that number. This is color number 207 of the Paintbox yarns. It's a little bit darker than the white, but it's the next lightest color that we're going to use, and this is the color we're going to use for all of the cabling. All right, so now that we've brought that color in, okay, let's go ahead and in the next space we are going to work a front post double crochet. Let's see where that stitch is. It's going to be right here, and we're also going to be working over the darker color yarn because we're going to need to carry that alongside to use for those half double crochets. So we work a front post double crochet and then a half double crochet worked into the next stitch, and then right next to that, and if you're not sure which stitch it is,
this is the stitch that we worked this half double crochet above, and the next stitch is here. Again, working in this yarn behind. I know it's a lot to keep in mind. Now we're going to switch back to the brown. Okay, so we've just worked the foundation for that 3-stitch cable. And now we're going to work 5 half doubles. And let's go ahead and work over that lighter colored yarn behind. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's go ahead and switch to the lighter colored yarn. Let's pause and take a look at this for a second. It's also good to stop and let's count or line up these stitches, the stitches that we're working up here, to the bottom row, because it's really easy to get confused. I have confused myself a couple times in recording this. So let's make sure that our stitch count is lining up here stitch by stitch, and it looks like it is. Okay, the next cable we're going to prepare for, we're working the foundation row for, would be the 5-stitch cable. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look, see where do we want to line this up. Okay, it's going to be right here. And we're again working around this other strand on the back side. So we have 1, 2 front post double crochets. Then we're going to follow that with a half double crochet, which is right here. And then 2 more front post double crochets working over that strand on the back side. Okay, now as we work these floats across, it's very easy for them to become either too loose, like this right now, or too tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull them just kind of taut there. It's not super tight, but then afterwards I'm going to just give it a little pull so that it's not too tight on the back side, and that should be fine. So you might want to periodically do that as you go across. Now I'm going to go ahead and back this out a stitch, just the top stitch, because it's time to switch back to the darker color. And I'm going to work in the very next stitch. Let me show you. The next stitch is right here. It's a little on the close side, but that's where we need to work for that next half double. And then we have 4 more half doubles. So we have a total of 5, 4, and this is the 5th one. So it's time to change the yarn color again. Now looking at our chart, the next cable that we're going to prepare for is the large honeycomb cable. That's a 15-stitch cable. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, working that other strand into the back side. And another way, I'll show you another way to check after I complete this stitch properly. There we go. All right, so now let me show you another way you can check on the back side. So we work these stitches, these half doubles in the back side. So you're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3 on the back side here, 1, 2, 3. So you'll know that the next half double crochet comes right in here. Okay, so that's another way that you can check to make sure that you are counting the stitches correctly as you go across. So again, we're going to work 3 more front post double crochets. Again, this is working the foundation for the large honeycomb cable. And so again, I'm going to look behind 1, 2, 3 stitches there. So I'm skipping 3 stitches back here for the 3 stitches that I'm working. on these post stitches. Again, establishing the foundation row can be probably the most challenging. And I am taking a lot of time with this because this is really important that we get this done properly and not skip stitches or double dip in stitches. Okay, so again, 3 more front post double crochets. And I'm also being mindful of that float on the back side. So we look at the back, 1, 2, 3 stitches, and then the next one will be right here for that half double, and then 3 more front post double crochets. 1, 2, and again working that thread in behind. And let's go ahead and give this one a little bit of a tug and then tug back a little bit. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of those 3 stitches together, and then let's go ahead and back this stitch out so I can color change again. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to work 5 additional, work over that color, 5 additional half double crochets. Okay, let's pause and take a look at what we have so far. So now to continue, let's go ahead and back out this last stitch because I need to do a color change and neglected to do it. All right, so go ahead and do that. And so now we're ready to work the foundation for the wavy cable, which is a 7-stitch foundation. Let's go ahead and do that. So that's 3 front post double crochets working in that strand on the back side. Make sure this is nice and neat. And then look in the back, 1, 2, 3 stitches. So that next stitch for the half double goes here. And then 3 more front post double crochets working the other strand in on the back side. Let's try that one again. Sometimes we accidentally pull that strand forward. It just goes in front of the hook on the back side, and then we complete our stitches like this. And we're going to bring in the other brown at the end of that. So that's the foundation for our wavy cable. Now we have 5 more half double crochets, and we're going to again work it over the cream color. 2, 3, 4, and then another color change on that 5th half double crochet. And now we're going to work the foundation for the very large cable. This is a 19-stitch cable. So we're going to have a multiple of 4 on these. Here we go. We're going to work 4 front post double crochets. So let's look on the back side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next half double will be worked in to that next space. Do you see how I'm counting? 1, 2, 3, 4. If you are off on your stitch count as you go across. It's probably because we skipped too many stitches on the back side of these cables as we're setting them up. And while we're looking at the back side, let's go ahead and tighten that strand a little bit. Not too much, just enough. Now we're going to do that a couple more times. 4 more front post double crochets. Okay, sorry for all the moving around there. And let's look at the back side of this. 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. So the next half double goes right there. So now we need 2 more sets of these. 4 more front post double crochets. I know I sound like a broken record for those of you who understand that phrase, but again, working in this extra strand on the back side, we just put it in front of the hook as the hook works its way around the body of the stitch. Again, leaving it on the back side. Okay, so we have another 4. Now check back here. 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches skipped, and then half double in that next stitch. And again, we're not skipping anything per se because we have stitches here that replaces these, but it's just a good way to verify that you're not skipping more stitches than you need to. If you do that, you'll know when you get to the end of this row because you'll run out of space, and that's not a good thing. All right, so we have 4 more front post double crochets. As you can see, this is just a lot going on here. A lot to think about. Definitely take it slow. And go ahead and even that stitch out. So let's go ahead and take a look. You should have 4 sets. 4 front post, half double, 4 front post double, half double, 4 front post, half double, 4 front post, double crochets. Okay, so now everything that we work on the other side of this large central cable is going to be symmetrical to what was already worked on the other side. So let's go ahead and figure this one out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here we go. We're going to work the wavy cable foundation by working 3 front post double crochets. Let's skip 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's work a half double behind there. And then 3 more. Front post double crochets. Alright, so now let's back this out so we can do our yarn change, and let's again double check back behind. 1, 2, 3 stitches that we're not going to use, and then we're going to work 5 more front post double crochets. Again, let's back that last stitch out. Let's go ahead and do that 5th stitch again, because you know it's time for another color change. So now we're going to work a foundation for the large honeycomb. And again, I'm looking at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next stitch is going to be worked here. 1, 2, we work 3 front post double crochets, followed by a half double, looking from the back side. 1, 2, 3. So the next stitch will go here. And skip the next stitch, and then 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Look behind. 1, 2, 3. Half double in the next stitch. And 3 more. Front post doubles. 1, 2, 3. And again, I'm going to check out this. Give that a little bit. There we go. Even that out on the back side. And now a half double. Skip 1, 2, 3 behind. And work that half double there. And then again, 3 more. Back post double crochets, working that other strand on the back side. And I'm gonna change yarn. Let's just, there we go, make that a little more taut and pull that new color in. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I have the foundation, those 15 stitches. Time for 5, 1, 2, 3 stitches skipped on the back side, so it's time for 5 half doubles. And again, switching that yarn on that 5th stitch. I promise you I'm not going to spend as much time with all the other rows because I know that would drive everybody crazy. But I am just taking time because this is the foundation. Okay, so we're going to be careful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now we're going to work the foundation for the 5 stitch cable, which is 2 front post double crochets, a half double, make sure we only skip 2 stitches back there, and 2 more front post double crochets. And let's go ahead and bring in the brown. Now we're going to work 5 more. Working over the cream. Now this brings us right to the edge for this last 3 stitch cable. So let's go ahead and work 1, 2, and 3. And again, bring in that dark color to finish out the row. All right, so we're going to work 10 stitches to finish out the row. Those are all half double crochets. So now that we've finished the first official row with the cabling foundation, let's go ahead and double check. We're going to go from left to right. 3 stitch cable, 5 stitch cable, honeycomb foundation, wavy cable foundation, the giant center cable, another wavy cable foundation, honeycomb, 5 stitch cable, and the 3 stitch cable. Alright, so now we're going to turn to have the back side facing us, and I promise you it's going to get a bit easier from this point once we've established this foundation. Okay, so this is row 2, and we are simply going to work in the stitches as we see them. We're not having to line things up like we've been doing. All right, so we're going to work those first 10 half double crochets after that chain 2, of course. So go ahead and work 10 half doubles. As we complete the 10th stitch, we know to bring in the new color. So now we're going to work back post double crochets over those post stitches, and as we do that, we're going to work in the strand. So we have one back post, half double into the top loops of that half double, and then another back post, which we work in the strand from behind. It's easy to see. We could just give that a little tug lightly, and of course I should have brought in the dark color right there. Okay, so now we're going to work in the light color over those 5 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I will tell you that the back side is going to be easier to work, I believe. Switch to the new color. And here is working over that 5 stitch cable. We're going to work again back post over each of these post stitches, working in a strand. 1, 2 back post double crochets, half double in the half double, and then again working this strand in, back post double crochet, back post double crochet. And again, you can give a little tug, but not too tight. Make sure that it's not tightened too much. And I should have brought in the new color. There we go. And then half double in those 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, this is where we change to the new color. And now I'm going to work over this next cable. Then I'm going to let you finish out the row just to show you how this has worked. So we're working again back post double crochets over these next 3 stitches. 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, half double into half double, and then 3 more back post double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then a half double in that half double, and then etc., etc. I'm going to do that again 3 times. 3 back post, half double, 3 back post, half double, switching the yarn colors, and then again 5 half doubles. We're going to work that all the way across the row, and after that we will get to crossing some of these cables, but that is basically what we're going to do for row 2. So go ahead and complete that, and I'll show you row 3. This is what you should have after completing 2 rows of the cable section. Just wanted to show you what each cable should look like. This is the central cable. Now to begin row 3, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to half double crochet in the first 20 stitches until we get to the first cable. It's time to switch the yarn color. Alright, so now for the first cable, what we're going to do is we're going to skip the first stitch. We're going to half double into that half double, and then we're going to double wrap the hook for a front post treble crochet. And you can go ahead and work that yarn in behind on this stitch as we complete that front post treble. And then working in front of the last 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the first stitch that we skipped. Just like that. Now we're going to have to back this out. I should have thought to do that ahead of time. And we're going to switch back to the light brown. And let me just take a look at the back. We only connected it to the 1 stitch, and that's fine on this particular stitch. Okay, so now we're going to work those next 5 half double crochets. And again on the 5th one, we're going to bring in that new color. Now we're going to cross the 5 stitch cable. It's very similar, except we're going to skip those 2 post stitches, half double into that half double crochet. Now we're going to front post treble, and I'm going to go ahead and hook in that yarn color. We're going to front post treble in those next 2 stitches. Let me try that one again. There we go. Let me show that from the back. So I'm hooked in the yarn on those 2 stitches there. Now working in front of those last 3 stitches, we're going to front post treble in this stitch and in this stitch. Now as I do that, if you want to work your hook around that strand from the back, you can certainly do that. And that would further hide that strand on the back side. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm grabbing it on the back side. We've crossed that cable. Let's go ahead and even up that stitch on the back side. And again, I need to back this out just 1 step so that I can bring in the other color yarn. Now we're going to work 5 additional half double crochets. And 1 more. Make sure we swap out the yarn. There we go. Now let's take a look at this. Okay, this is the honeycomb. And we're going to do things a little differently here. We're going to work what we call a back cross here. I'll work it for you, but we're going to work in these stitches first with front post trebles, and then we're going to work behind these 4 stitches and work front post trebles in these 2. This would be our first back cross. The 2 stitches that we've done over here are front crosses, which means simply that after we work these stitches, we're going to work these stitches by crossing in front. But these we're going to cross in back. So let me go ahead and show you how we're going to do that. First we skip those 3 stitches, half double, and that next half double. Now working in front, or let's go ahead and work front post trebles. Now I'm going to loosely connect this yarn behind, but I'm going to leave some slack in it so that I can also connect it back in these stitches as well. And you'll see how I do that. So I'm just working front post treble crochets here. Working behind these 4 stitches, we're going to come into the hole here, and then we're going to work this front post stitch. And if you want to wrap that hook around that stitch there, or that strand, that would probably be a good thing. Let's do that again. Coming into the back hole, then we're going to work a front post here. Even though it is working behind, It's a front post stitch because we're going into the front, but we are working it behind these other 4 stitches. And it does help sometimes if you can, there we go. I am using the nerve endings in my thumb and my fingers too as I help to find these. And I am going to include some additional stitches in the video description. Now let me go ahead and give this a little bit of a tug so that yarn behind, not too snug, but not too loose either. Half double in that next half double. Now we're going to work a front cross on this side. Skip these 3 stitches, half double, in that next half double. Let's go ahead and front post treble. Again, using this yarn in the back, and I'm going to loosen it up a little bit so that it's not too tight and so that I can work around it with these other stitches that we're skipping. This is the second stitch. We're working front post trebles. And the third. Let's go ahead. Now working in front of those 4 stitches, we're going to front post treble here, here, and here. And I'm going to do that by working around that strand on the back side as well. So yeah, you see there is a lot going on here. It's not impossible, but if this is your first time doing cables, I would recommend you maybe try a different project. It's probably a little late to be recommending that, but you could just strike all this information from what I just said. Okay, now that I've worked that, let's go ahead and give that a little, just not too tight, but just like that. Okay, now I need to back this out again so I can change the color. And then we're going to work half double crochets. Let's move this more towards the center. Half double crochets in the next 5 stitches. And the 5th stitch, we're going to switch the colors. So let's stop and see what we've done so far. Okay, so this is the honeycomb stitch, and there's the 5 stitch cable and the 3 stitch cable. Let's go on to the wavy cable next. Now the wavy cable is going to work a back post to begin. Skip those 3 stitches, half double, the next half double. Now we're going to front post treble in the next 3 stitches, 1, and again working around that strand on the back side. It does become a lot easier once you've done it a few times, I promise. So working behind these 4 stitches, we're going to front post treble here, here, and then here. Coming into the back side. Let's go ahead and include that strand behind it. So that's 1. It's coming into the back. We've located the 2nd stitch. I'm using the nerve endings in my thumb and finger to find this. And there's 2. And the 3rd one coming into that same opening. And I'm going to work my hook around that strand and the stitch. Let's take a look at that back strand. Okay, that's good. Now I need to back out that last step so I can include the color change, and then we're back to those 5 half double crochets. And time for a color change right there. All right, now we have come to the large ever-changing cable, and this one is also going to open like a large honeycomb to begin. We're going to work a back cross over these 9 stitches, or actually, yeah, that's right, 9 stitches, and then over these stitches we're going to work a front cross. The motion is the same as we've done with these cables over here, it's just the numbers are a little bit different. We're going to skip those 4 post stitches. Instead of a half double, we're going to work a double crochet, which is a larger stitch, and also going to bring this thread, a strand behind. We're going to work 4 front post trebles. That's 2. Three, and 4. Working behind those 5 stitches, we're going to come into this opening just like we did with the smaller stitches. Go ahead and grab that extra strand, and we're going to front post treble in those 4 stitches that we skipped. That's 2, and that's 3, and the last one, that's 4. Now I am going to stop here, and I'm going to tug on this strand so that it does not show in this cable. After that, we're going to work a double crochet in this next stitch, and then skip the next 4 stitches, and then a double crochet in this next stitch. This is just using a larger, slightly longer stitch for this larger cable. Front post treble, let's not forget this stitch behind, front post treble in the next 4 stitches. Okay, so let's take a look at that float. See how the float is nice and loose on the back side just for now. That's good, so that we can work it into what we're going to do here, working in front of those 5 stitches, because this is a front cross now. We're going to work around that strand on the back side with the 4 front post trebles. That's 1. And there's the second one. Make sure that that strand goes in front of the hook. That's 2. And put the strand in front of the hook. That's 3. And 4. Let me try that again. It should go in the front. There we go. Okay, 4. You can see how that strand kind of shows a little bit, but then when I pull it, it's nice and even now. Okay, and back that last step out again so we can bring the color change in, and then we're back to 5 half double crochets. And color change on that last stitch. Okay, so now we have the wavy cable. Let's take a look at this. The wavy cable on this side turns out this direction. Well, we want this cable to be symmetrical. It's not going to be the same as this. It's going to go the opposite, kind of like a mirror image. So we're going to make this a front cross. Where this was a back cross, we're going to make this wavy cable a front cross for now. We're going to skip those next 3 stitches, half double in that half double, front post treble as we work over the strand on the back side, and those 3 stitches, and the third, now working in front of those 4 stitches. I say 4 because there are 3 front post treble and that half double. And just go ahead and put your hook over that strand in the back side. We work front post trebles in those 3 stitches that we just skipped. Again, working that strand in front of the hook. Let me make sure I catch it. There we go. That's where it's okay to let that float be a little bit big on the back side, because we can always tighten it down just a bit. Okay, now I'm going to just tighten it just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to pull back a little bit too so that it's not too tight. And once again, I'm going to back this out at the top of that stitch for the color change, just that last step. And again, 5 more half double crochets. As we complete the next, or the 5th half double crochet, go ahead and do that color change. And then now we're ready to do another honeycomb, and we're going to work a back cross over these 2 columns and a front cross over these 2 columns. I'll go ahead and work that with you again. Skip 3 stitches, half double, that next half double crochet. We're going to front post treble in the next 3 stitches. I'm going to work it over the strand in the back side. And don't worry if you can see that a little bit, because we're going to give it a little tug and it will disappear on the back side. Now working behind those 4 stitches, we're going to come in to this back opening and work 3 front post trebles. Make sure you work it over that strand. So that's 1. 2. And 3. Half double in that next half double. Let's go ahead and give that a little bit of a tug, and then I'm going to pull back on it as well so it's not too tight. Now we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, half double in that next half double, front post treble in the next 3, and I'm going to bring the strand on the back side. Don't leave that strand behind, or at least in the distance, in the behind. We want to make sure that we keep track of it, because we don't want to find out that we're like 20 stitches back here and we've left it all alone. We want to make sure that we're working it in as we go. And working in front of those 4 stitches, front post treble in those 3 stitches that we just skipped. So 1, 2, and again working that stitch behind it, and 3. And I'm actually going to remember the color change this time, so I don't have to back the stitch out. But if you have to back the stitch out, it's not a big deal. And so now it's time, actually let's go ahead and back that stitch out a second so I can go ahead and even this up in the back. There we go. Now I can pull it through. Back to those half double crochets. So we only have 2 cables to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more. And 5 with the color change. Okay, now we have the 5 stitch cable. We skip 2 stitches, half double in the center, front post double crochet. Don't forget that strand on the back side. Those 2 front post double crochets. Working in front of those 3 stitches and working over that strand along the back side. Front post treble in those 2 stitches that we skipped. Let me try that one again. There we go. And let's go ahead and give that one a little bit of a tug and then pull back so it's not too tight. And I do need to back that out again. Color change for the next 5 stitches. Then 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with that color change. Skip the next stitch here, half double in that half double, front post treble that next stitch. And let's try that one again because I did not catch. There we go. Get that yarn on the back side. Working in front of those 2 stitches, front post treble right here, and let me make sure I also get that strand. There we go. And the treble, before I pull it through, let's make sure that yarn looks good. There it does. And let's go ahead and do that color change. And then just as a reminder, for those last 10 stitches, you do not have to carry the other strand behind it because we don't have any cables at the end of this. So go ahead and finish out those 10 stitches and then I'll show you what I have. Okay, let's go ahead, looking from left to right, let's go ahead and look at these cables. You can see that they are crossed. This is the honeycomb, the wavy cable. This is the large cable that's going to change a lot. And then again, these 2 cables should be going the opposite or mirroring each other. Another honeycomb, 5 stitch cable and a 3 stitch cable. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to turn again to work with the back side facing, which does make it easier on these color changes. So go ahead and chain 2 and work those first 10 half double crochets. On that 10th stitch, I am changing back to the cable color. And so for these cables, we're going to work a back post, double crochet. Let's go ahead and grab that strand to work behind it, a back post double crochet. After that stitch, we're going to work a half double in the half double, which is right next to it, and then we're going to work another back post double crochet, just like that. Make sure that yarn is doing well. Let's go ahead and back that out. Change back to the brown and carry on with those 5 half double crochets. That 5th stitch, we're going to switch back to the cable color. And then now over the 5 post cable, we're going to work, let's go ahead and work this in with it. We're going to work those 2 back post double crochets. We're going to work a half double in between that last stitch and the next stitch, which is the center of the cable, just like that. And then we're going to work 2 more back post double crochets. This is what you're going to do every time you work the row that follows a cable crossing with this particular cable. Let's go ahead and straighten that stitch out. Let's back this out again for that color change. And then back to those 5 half double crochets. And then here comes another one. Bring in that new color, or the cable color. So now we're working the back side of the honeycomb. So let's go ahead and grab a strand there. So that's 1. We're going to do this 3 times. 2, and make sure we have that strand on front of it. 3, so that's 3 stitches. Let's go ahead and give that a little tug. Half double in between that last stitch and the next stitch, is right where those cables are crossed. And then we're going to do 3 more back post double crochets, but let's be sure that as we do them that we have that strand in front. There we go. 1, 2. Okay, and then the 3rd stitch, just like that. Half double. Okay, now we're going to skip this half double. We're going to put a half double in this stitch right here. And then going across with the strand. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry about this float just yet until we're finished here. Half double in between that last stitch and the next stitch. Again, this is where those cables are crossed. After that half double, then we have 3 more stitches here for back post. Don't forget to put that strand in front as we go around. 1. Put that strand in front. 2. And putting that strand in front. 3. Okay, now this, go ahead and give that a nice tug. Make sure it's not too tight, and that should be good. Now we're going to back this out so we can do our color change. And let's do 5 more half double crochets. And the last one, we do another color change. So after changing colors for that 5th half double, we're going to work again back post, double crochets in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, again just making sure, and that 3rd stitch, make sure I put that into front of the hook like so. Alright, let's give that a little tug. There we go, so that's nice. And a half double in between that last stitch and the next stitch. And let's go ahead and do 3 more back post double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And again, just even that up a bit. Go ahead and back that out so we can swap for the next color. And then we're back to those 5 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, swapping out the yarn color for the next cable. Now I'm going to show you the next cable, and then after that I'm going to have you finish out the row. I just wanted to make sure that I demonstrated this enough so that there was no doubt as to how you're going to work these rows. Okay, so now this has 4 back post double crochets. This is the 19 stitch cable, so we work back post double crochets over the next 4 stitches. Make sure you don't leave any out. And this is the 3rd, and I'm just putting this strand over the hook just so it gets woven in behind all of these stitches. Half double in between that last stitch and next stitch. And then let's continue on with the next 4. One, these are all back post again. 2, let's try that again. 3, and 4. Well, all right, make sure that strand goes in front of the hook as the hook goes around the body. And that's 4. Let's go ahead and give that a little bit of a tug. Not too tight, but just right. We're going to skip this half double, and then we go to this half double. And just to make a note, this goes for all the stitches. Every time we skip this and we're adding in a stitch here, the stitch count is still going to remain constant. It's going to remain the same as it did from the very beginning. We're not adding in or really taking any stitches out. It's all canceling out mathematically. So I just wanted to make a statement for some of you mathematicians out there that may be saying, hey, wait a minute, you're skipping a stitch. Well, we're adding in stitches to make up for those stitches that we're skipping as far as the half doubles go. Okay. So again, 4 more back post double crochets. Again, being careful to carry this yarn with me with each stitch. Half double in between that last stitch and next stitch. This is where the columns were crossed. Oh, let me go ahead and get this in behind as well. That's 2. Well, let me do that one again because I want to make sure that it's sufficiently woven in. Maybe 3rd time is the charm. There we go. And the third stitch. And the fourth. Okay, now before I do anything any further, I'm going to go ahead and pull that a bit just so that, okay, so, and I'm going to pull back a little bit on it as well so that it's not too tight. But just wanted to show you just how that is nicely hidden into the cable. Now we're going to work 5 more half double crochets, and the rest of working behind the cables for the rest of this row is exactly what I just showed you earlier on. It's just repeating, whether it's the multiple of 4 or 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever. It is pretty much the same, and you can see the strands do not show on the front side, which I absolutely love about this. So go ahead and finish this row. Okay, now for row number 5. We're going to go ahead and chain 2 and work those first 20 half double crochets. So just as mentioned before, this is a 2-row repeat. So we're going to skip the first stitch, half double, and then half double, front post treble, and the next stitch. Whoops, but before we do that, let's be sure that we are carrying this other yarn behind. Working in front of those 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the stitch that was skipped. Again, working the yarn in. Just like that. Let's go ahead and pull that yarn. There we go. And then changing back to that other yarn color. 5 half doubles. And switch back to the other yarn. Now I'm going to show you these, the 3-stitch and the 5-stitch cable, and we're going to do it the same way on the other end. I'm not going to demonstrate that all the stitches for you because you should be able to do that at this point, but you're going to do it the same way on the other end. These 2 cables are the only cables that you're going to do any crossing on this row, and that's going to happen every time the front side is facing. You're going to cross these 2 cables. The other cables, not so much, but I'll give instructions on those in just a second. Okay, so now the next cable, we're going to skip the first 2 stitches, half double into half double. We're going to front post treble in the next 2, but I'm going to carry that yarn behind. Working in front of those last 3 stitches, I'm going to come over here and work that stitch behind. Front post treble in the 2 stitches that we skip. Let me make sure we have that on the other side. Okay, there we got it. Okay, let's go ahead and, yep, that's a good tension there. So we're going to back this out, and then we're going to switch back to the other yarn color to finish that cable. All right, so now we're going to go back to working those 5 half double crochets, and then I'll explain how we're going to finish out this row. Okay, let's back that last stitch out for another yarn change. Okay, so now for For the rest of the cables, we are simply going to work front post double crochets, and let me show you how we're going to do that. Working that color yarn back behind them, we're just going to work front post double crochets in each of the post stitches, like so. You just have to remember, sometimes they're in multiples of 3s, sometimes they're in multiples of 4s, as in with the large central cable. When you get to the half doubles, just work half doubles by working into the top loops. And here are 3 more. Again, the biggest challenge is making sure that we carry that contrasting color yarn on the back side as we go. Like that. And so we're just going to, be careful to work that all the way on the back side, but working with the yarn color changes as you go. But again, just working front post double crochets on all of these post stitches. Now when you get to the last 2, which is the 5 stitch cable and the 3 stitch cable, make sure that you cross these just like we did at the very beginning of this row. So go ahead and work row 5, and then after that we're going to turn to have the back side facing us. So when you have the back side facing, we're going to work back post double crochets over all of the post stitches and half doubles where the half doubles are made. Now when you come to the crossed stitches, let me review what you're going to do here. You're going to work 2 back post double crochets, a half double in between that last stitch and next stitch, and then 2 back post doubles. For this one, we're going to work 1 back post double, a stitch in between that last stitch and next stitch, and then another back post double crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way across. As you're working across the other stitches, however, you're just going to be working back post, half double, and then back post double crochets. All right, this is what the cable should look like after completing 6 rows. Okay, there's the large central row. Now let me go ahead and explain what we're going to do this row. Okay, just like before, when you have the front side facing, the 3 stitch cable and the 5 stitch cables will all be crossed with front crosses, just like we've been doing. The honeycomb cables are going to continue to be elongated with just front post double crochets. Now the 2 cables, the wavy cables that are on either side of the large central cable, are going to cross. This will just continue with front post double crochets and half double crochets, just like we did 2 rows ago. Okay, so this cable, this column is going to curve around this direction, and we are going to work the front cross. Okay, that's just the same that we've been working with the other 2 cables, the small cables. So we're going to cross in the front at the end. So we'll skip these 3 stitches, half double and half double, front post treble in these 3, working in front. We will front post treble here, here, and here. This cable, however, is going to be a back cross, so it's curving around this direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to have these cables kind of running opposite like this. So this is going to be a back cross. So what we're going to do with this, just to review, we're going to skip 3 stitches, half double in this stitch, front post treble in these 3 stitches. Working behind these 4 stitches, we will front post treble in these 3 stitches. So again, a front cross, a back cross, and then the 2 small cables, like I mentioned before, these 2, and these two will have front crosses. That's pretty much what you're going to do for this row. So go ahead and work row 7, and then for row 8 we are going to turn with the back side facing, and row 8 is going to be again just back post double crochet on the post stitches, half doubles and the half doubles, and where the cables have crossed, you know to put a stitch, a half double in between that last stitch and next stitch where those cables cross. Okay, so go ahead and work rows 7 and 8. Now let's take a look at these cables after finishing 8 rows. And they do look like a lot of fun. And again, this is the center cable. So let me just explain what we're going to do for this next row. This is going to be for row 9, and then I'll have you do row 10 afterwards. Okay, so we're going to just continue to cross this cable and this cable. Just like I said, it's a 2-stitch repeat, and you should be able to do that no problem now. For the honeycombs, both of the large honeycombs, we are going to work a front cross here, which is the same that was worked over on this side, and we're going to work a back cross here. Okay, so this is a back cross. This will be worked here. This front cross will be worked over here. So what's going to happen is it's going to close this in, and I'll show you how this looks after I finish it. This is just going to be the wavy cable. We're just going to work front post double crochets in those post stitches and a half double and a half double. The especially large central stitch, we are just going to keep building this. We're going to work another row of just front post double crochets to grow this, and again half doubles in between. Remember, there are multiples of 4 on those. And for the row that follows, row number 10, we are just going to work back post double crochets across, and that's pretty much it. And then for the center cable, we're just going to work front post double crochets on row 9, and on row 10 we're going to work back post double crochets across those. And the same for the wavy cables, we're just going to work back post double crochets as we work across. So go ahead and work rows 9 and 10. All right, let's take a look at what we have after 10 rows of the cabling. Now, I would recommend that at the end of every row, especially with the front facing, that you just stop and double check what you've done. Why am I saying that? Well, because I have just finished redoing the last 2 rows 2 different times. And what I failed to do is I failed to cross this particular cable in the right direction, because we want this to continue to weave on top, and this one over here. And the reason I tell you that is it's very easy to just be going along, concerned with hiding the strands on the back side and etc., and forget that you're crossing the cable in the particular direction. Okay, so anyway, my little story there just to let you know. And when I went back again, I crossed one of these in the wrong direction, just not paying attention. So definitely stop at the end of each row and double check. So if you have to just redo 1 row, that's one thing. You don't want to have to redo 2 rows like me. Okay. All right, so now this is 10 rows. Now for row 11, let's just go ahead and talk about what we're going to do here. Again, the 3-stitch cable and the 5-stitch cable, the same as you've been doing all along. You're going to cross these with the front side facing. Okay, the large honeycombs, we are just going to work front post double crochets on the post stitches, and of course half doubles where the half doubles go. The wavy cable, it's time to cross the wavy cable again on row 11. And in order to do that, we're going to work a this is going to be a back cross, because this is going to remain on top. So it should just stay on top. So this is going to be a back cross, and the one on the other side is going to be a front cross, because it's going to cross the opposite. Now, for this large cable, it's going to be time to cross this. And this is going to be a back cross, and this will be a front cross. So this cable here is going to end up on top, and this cable here is going to end up on top, going this direction. Okay, and I will show you this after I've crossed it. And again, honeycomb, you know what to do. The same as I said before, just front post double crochets here. And again, these two cables, you just cross them as we've been crossing them for the last several rows. All right, so go ahead and work row 11 and row 12. Go ahead and work that as well. Just don't forget that after you've worked the crossing of the cables, that you put the half double crochet in between that last stitch and next stitch. Okay, so go ahead and work those next two rows. Just to help, I wanted to go ahead and show you how to cross this large cable in the center, since we only crossed them once earlier. Don't forget, we're going to skip 4 stitches and we're going to work a double crochet instead of the half double, since this is such a larger cable. After that double crochet, we're going to work 4 front post trebles. Make sure you grab that strand to work that strand in behind. And one more. So now, working behind those 5 stitches, we're going to come in behind them to the opening here, locate that stitch and the strand behind for that first stitch. And let's do that again, coming in from behind and into the second stitch, and then making sure I grab that strand behind it. 2. And again, I'm using the nerve endings in my thumb and finger to locate these stitches. And that's 3. We have one more to go. And the 4th stitch is right there. Put that strand in front as well. And I'm going to look at that strand on the back and just give it a little bit of a tug, and then I'm going to give it some pull back as well so that it's not too tight. So after working that 4th stitch, we're going to work a double crochet into that half double, skip the next 4 stitches, and then a double crochet into that next stitch. Now we're going to work a front cross over this section, and this is going to cross outward, as you'll see. After that double crochet, we're going to work 4 front post trebles. Make sure we bring the strand way back over there. It is quite a distance on the back side, but we'll be working around it with those other stitches in just a bit. Okay, so that's 2 front post treble, 3, and then 4. Working in front of all of these stitches, we're going to front post treble and working that strand around as we go in each of those 4 stitches. And make sure that we can pull that strand a little bit. There we go. And so this is how that cable should look. So go ahead and continue working on rows 11 and 12. I just wanted to be sure to show you how this is to be worked. So let's take a look at this after the completion of 12 rows. These stitches, these cables just continue to repeat those 2 row repeats,
And this is what you should have for the honeycomb and the wavy cable and the large central cable. So let me go ahead and explain what's going to happen. Of course, this is symmetrical, goes for both sides. These two cables are just going to continue with the 2-row repeat as we've been doing. So now for the honeycomb, this is going to be a back cross, and this cable is going to be on top. This is going to be a front cross over here. And when you work the wavy cable, we're just going to elongate this a little bit more, the next 2 rows. So we're just going to work front post double crochets here. The same with the large crazy cable here. We're just going to continue to elongate this with front post double crochets, half doubles where the half doubles go, etc. So that's what we're going to do for row 13. Row 14, we're just going to work with the back side facing us, just work the back post double crochets as you've been, and whenever the cables have been crossed, as they will be with the half double, don't forget to put the half double crochet in between where the 2 cables or the 2 columns have crossed. So go ahead and work rows 13 and 14. Now for rows 15 and 16, we are just going to continue. I'll just start with the large central cable. We're just going to work front post double crochets with the front side facing, and of course the half doubles in between. And then we're going to work back post double crochets for row 16. Okay, for the crazy cable, or the wavy cable I should say, we're going to cross the cable again. We're going to cross with a front cross on the left side, and we're going to cross with a back cross on the right side of that crazy cable. The honeycomb, we're just going to continue to grow these, just elongate these with front post double crochets and then back post double crochets for row 16. And again, the 5-stitch cable, just the same as we've been doing. We're going to cross this the way we've been doing it, and then when we work the back side of that, just work those back post double crochets with the half double in the middle. And for the 3-stitch cable, we're going to cross it as usual and the back post double crochets. So go ahead and work rows 15 and 16. All right, let's take a look at this after completing 16 rows. Let me see how everything is growing. Okay, now for rows 17 and 18, they're going to be very straightforward. These are going to continue to do what they've been doing, crossing with the front side facing. For row 18, we're just going to do the same back post double crochets and half doubles in between. For the honeycomb, we're just going to work front post double crochets, of course half doubles, that's always implied where those belong. And then for row 18, back post double crochets. And for the wavy cable, front post double crochets, and then back post for the row that follows that. And the same for our crazy cable. We're going to work front post double crochets for row 17 and then back post for row 18. And again, this is the other side of the center, and of course the same front post double crochets, etc. So go ahead and work rows 17 and 18. Now for rows 19 and rows 20, we're going to continue with the same. When the front side is facing, we're going to cross the 3-stitch cable and the 5-stitch cable. It is time to close up the honeycomb. So when we get to this side of the honeycomb, we're going to make it look like this. So this is going to be a front cross here, and on the other side is going to be a back cross, and that's going to be for both honeycombs on both sides. For the wavy cable, we're going to work a back cross here. This column is going to stay on the same
on the surface. So just make sure that you work behind these 4 stitches when you complete this crossing of the cable here. Okay, now this cable, the very large central cable, is also going to cross. And what we're going to do is we're going to cross this just like we did the honeycomb. We're going to make it, it's going to be a giant honeycomb just for a little while, with a front cross here and a back cross here. Remember, with this extremely large cable, we're working double crochets into the half doubles just during the cable crossing process, just as a reminder. And again, the wavy cable, this one is going to go opposite the other one. So this is going to have a front cross, or you're going to cross over and keep this column on top with this cable. And again, you have the honeycomb with just repeating what I've already mentioned. So go ahead and work rows 19 and 20. This is what you should have after completing 20 rows. I'm going to go ahead and try to give you a really good view of all of these cables. That's the honeycomb cable and the wavy cable and the giant cable in the center. And of course, this cable is going the opposite direction as this cable. So they're going to continue to do this all the way. Okay, so let me go ahead and tell you what we're going to do for rows 21 and 22. Again, maintain what you've been doing all along on these 2 small cables, the 3 stitch and the 5 stitch. For the honeycombs, we're just going to work the front post double crochets, and then we're going to follow that up with row 22 with the back post double crochet. So we're just, again, doing those front post, back post, the half doubles in the middle, of course. And the same goes for both of these wavy cables on both sides of the center. We're just going to work front post double crochets and then back post double crochets on the pass back. And the same for the large cable. And we're going back again to the half double crochets like we did on row 20 in between these front post double crochets and back post. So we're not crossing any of the large cables. We're only crossing the 2 small cables just the way we do every other row. So go ahead and work rows 21 and 22. So this is what you should have after completing 22 rows. Let me go ahead and show you the center cable and the wavy cable, the honeycomb, and these 2 smaller cables, the 5 stitch and the 3 stitch. Now just about everything is going to require cable crossings on row 23. We're going to cross the 3 stitch as we've been doing all along and the 5 stitch, so I'm not even going to talk too much about that. This honeycomb cable, this is going to cross out on the front, so this is going to be a back cross and then followed by a front cross here. It will look very much like this, okay, after completing this section. So for the most part, the honeycomb stitch, we've worked all the stitches, and we're just going to continue to repeat in the same pattern. And the same for the wavy cable. The wavy cable is going to cross with a front cross going this direction on this cable. The one on the other side of the large cable, it's going to cross with the front cross. So, and now for the wavy cable, we're going to do very much like what we've done with the honeycomb over here. This is going to be a this is going to be a back cross. We're going to work behind the 5 stitches, and don't forget, when you're crossing these with a super big cable in the middle, we're going to work double crochets where we normally would work half doubles just when we cross these cables. So this is going to be a back cross, and this is going to be a front cross. We're going to just bring it back out again. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for row 23, and then again row 24 is the row worked with the backside facing, and you know what to do with that. So go ahead and work rows 23 and 24. This is the central pattern after completing 24 rows. If I can get that whole cable in there. Now for row 25 and 26. Okay, 25 will have the front side facing. You know what to do with these two. Just continue to cross the cables as you normally would. For the honeycomb stitches, we're just going to work the front post double crochets and then half doubles where the half doubles go, and then back post double crochets for row 26. And the same for the wavy cable. We're just going to work front post double crochets, and of course you know the half double and the half double, and then back post on those. And the same with the large cable in the center. We're going to be working front post double crochets where you put the post stitches, half doubles where you put the half doubles, and that should pretty much cover it for rows 25 and 26. So go ahead and work those rows. Here's the large central cable after completing 26 rows. Let me go ahead and show you the others. This is the honeycomb and the wavy cable. So now for rows 27 and 28, for row 27 with the front side facing, we're just going to continue the same with the 3-stitch and the 5-stitch cable. For the honeycomb, we're going to again work the front post double crochets, and of course those half doubles in between. With the front side facing and with the back side facing, we're going to work back post double crochets. For the wavy cable, it's going to be time to cross these cables again. So the cable on the right side of the large cable is going to cross with a back cross. So this will remain on the surface much like this is down here. And the one on the other side is going to cross with a front cross. So we're going to work these stitches first and then cross in front with these. Okay, the center cable, it's going to be time to cross this one again as well. It's going to be just a short little twist here, and we're going to go ahead and twist this one more time. So, and in doing so, we are going to work we're going to have this on top, which means we're going to work a back cross for this side, and then for this side we're going to work a front cross. We're going to bring this part of the cable will be on the surface, and over here this part of the cable will be on the surface, and I'll show that to you after we complete the next 2 rows. So go ahead and work rows 27 and 28. All right, now this is the center cable after completing 28 rows. This is a significant place for me to pause, because from this point on, the crazy cable is just going to be repeating row 5, which is the front side facing part right here that starts the front post double crochets all the way through what we just completed with row 28. For row 29, again, it's going to be a repeat of row 5 for this particular cable. May not be the same for the other cables, but what we're going to do for row 29 is work front post double crochets, and of course the half doubles where the half doubles go, and on the back side facing you're going to work back post double crochets and those half doubles where they belong. Okay, for the wavy cables, we are going to just continue to grow the column by working front post double crochets there and the half double in the middle, and then on the back side back post double crochets with the half double in the center. For the honeycomb, we are going to cross these cables. We're going to cross this with a front cross and this side with a back cross, so that we again close this up just like we did here several rows past. Okay, the 5 post cables are going to continue in the same fashion. However, these 3 stitch cables are going to change, and I will demonstrate that for you on the other side but we are going to change. We're going to work just front post double crochet, half double, using the brown color, and I'll show you how to do that, and then a front post double crochet on this stitch. When we come back for row 30, we're going to work back post double crochet in the cream color, the center color in the brown, and then another back post double crochet. So go ahead, and I will demonstrate this for you in just a second. Now for row 29, I've gone ahead and worked the first number of stitches before we get to the cables, and here's the last stitch, and then I'm going to switch my colors. All right, so now what we're going to do is, instead of crossing these cables like we've been doing, we're just going to work front post. Let me go ahead and make sure I have the right number of strands. There we go. We're going to work a front post double crochet, and let's back that out because I'm going to add the half double in a different color, and then switch the colors again, and we're going to work this to be a front post double crochet, just like that. Now on the next row, as we come back, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to work a back post double crochet, a half double, and then a back post double crochet. So go ahead and continue as instructed on those other cables, not forgetting that this one is no longer crossed when you get to that last cable. So this is what you should have after completing 30 rows. We're going to do one more thing on this cable. We're going to add simply one front post double crochet on this side only, and it will be on the inside of the other side here. So we're just going to have one front post double crochet that is going to be of the cream, and then we will be completely done with the cream for both of these cables. So we're going to just go ahead with the 5-stitch cable now, and we're going to just do the same that we've been doing with crossing it on the front side and then working those back post double crochets and that half double with the back side facing for row 30 for row 32. Okay, so now for the honeycomb, we're just going to work the front post double crochets with the front side facing and back post double crochets, of course with the half doubles included. It's time to cross the wavy cable again, so we're going to do this with a front cross on this cable and a back cross on the cable that's on the other side of the large wavy or the large crazy cable. And for this cable, we're just going to continue with front post double crochets with the front side facing and then back post double crochets with the back side facing. So go ahead and complete rows 31 and 32. So this is what you should have after completing 32 rows. Let's take a look. We're going to start with the central cable. This is the large crazy cable, and what we're going to do with this for rows 33 and 34, we are going to work front post double crochets with the front side facing, and of course those half doubles go without saying, and then back post double crochets for the rows that work row 34. For the wavy cable, we're just going to work front post double crochets and then the half double as well. For the honeycomb, we are going to cross the cables again. We're going to cross them outwards just like we did down here. So these two columns are going to work a back cross. This will remain on top, and this will be a front cross, and this column will remain on top. And the 5-stitch cable will just cross in the front as usual, as we've been doing all along, and then back post double crochets. And as you can tell, we're no longer working the small cable. And so go ahead and work those rows 33 and 34. this is what you should have after completing 34 rows of the cables. Just want to especially show you the central cable because that's the one that is changing the most. Okay, so now for rows 35 and 36. So for the central cable, let's take a look at that since this is the one that's changing the most. Okay, so we have elongated this section very much just like we did here. So just like we did down here, it's time to cross these center columns here outward. So this is going to be a back cross where this column stays on top. This is going to be a front cross where this column is going to stay on top, very much like what you did here and here. So these wavy cables are symmetrical. This side is going to cross on top, so that makes this a back cross here. And this wavy cable is going to be crossed with a front cross. The honeycombs on both sides are just going to elongate with front post double crochets, half doubles into half doubles, etc. And then the back side, back post double crochets. And the 5-stitch cable, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to start discontinuing this, and what we're going to do with row 35 is we're just going to work front post double crochets over the post stitches. We're going to work the half double in the dark or the medium brown and then 2 front post double crochets, and I'll go ahead and show you how to do that at the beginning. So I'm just reviewing with you. When you get to the 5-stitch cable, instead of crossing the cables the way we've been doing all along, we are going to just work front post double crochets, and you see I'm still linking that changing color yarn behind, and then we're going to work that half double with that medium color, and then it's time to switch back again to those 2 front post double crochets. And of course, when you work the row that follows this, that would be row 36 rather. When you get to row 36, make sure that you change to the brown for the half double crochets as you work those back post double crochets so that these columns can grow. And then we're also going to split them off kind of like we did here, you know, working on the steam so that the steam can kind of drift upwards. Okay, so go ahead and finish as instructed, but I just wanted to give you a little heads up on both of these 5-stitch cables. Okay, crocheters, we have finished 36 rows. I'm sorry I can't get more of this in this box here, so I do want to focus though on the central cable. There we go, and we have twisted them outward once again. Okay, so now this is row 37 coming up. Here is what we did with that 5-stitch cable. So let's go ahead and just talk through this since you know how to do these by now. If you're still following this far, okay, we're just going to work those half double crochets. And let me go ahead and I'm just going to work this one with you. So now we've come to that 5-stitch cable, which is no longer a cable. So what we're going to do is we are going to work the first leg of this is just going to be converted to a half double crochet with the dark color. Okay, now the next stitch, let's go ahead and back that one out. The next stitch we are going to change to the next color, and we're just going to continue working those front post double crochets. Okay, and let's go ahead and back that one out again. Lots of color changes in this section, and then work a half double where that half double is, and then change back again. A little bit tricky here. And then front post doubles. Just like that. And then of course I'm going to change and continue on. But I just wanted to show you how we're working this as a half double, and then the rest are going to be front post double crochets. Now when we come back, well, before we do that, let me just show you the other side of this. Again, we'll just reflect that as a mirror. So let me show you here. So the stitches where you add the half double in the medium brown is going to be here, not here, just so that it's symmetrical. All right, so let's take a look at the other stitches in this grouping. Okay, so the honeycomb is just going to continue to grow with front post double crochets for row 37, and then back post double crochets for row 38. And when I say that, always know the half doubles are included in there. For the wavy cable, front post double crochets when the front side is facing, back post when the back side is facing. And for this large crazy cable, let's take a look at where we're headed. We are headed to make this into a giant honeycomb. So we are going to be working front post double crochets with the front side facing, and back post double crochets, again just growing these columns. So go ahead and work rows 37 and 38. This is what we have after completing 38 rows. Take a look at the center cable, how it has grown. And now we're working on, this is going to become a giant honeycomb cable just like this. All right, so now for row 39, it's going to be time to change color. If you're following along with the way I'm doing my color changes, of course you're free to do whichever you want. So just to be clear, I'm still using Paintbox Yarns Simply Aran, and this is color number 208. So we're just going to lighten it up a little bit more for this row. So now in order to change this out, let's go ahead. I'm going to back the last stitch out at the end of, this is at the end of row 38. Let's go ahead, and then we're going to bring in the new color. It's kind of a subtle change, but enough that I think you will notice. Let's go ahead and cut this other color. All right, so now we are on to the new color, and I'm just going to go ahead and work across until I get to that cable section. Okay, now as we approach this cable, we are going to work a half double in this stitch, and in this stitch, and in this stitch, and then we're going to continue these two as front post double crochets in this row. So let's go ahead and do that. Half double, half double, half double. Now we're going to switch back to the cream, which is very similar to this caramel color we're using now. Front post double crochet and front post double crochet. Now let's take a look at the other end of the spectrum here, because just want to speak into this. We're going to do this the opposite. When you get to this 5 stitch cable, we're going to work front post double with the cream in these 2 stitches, and then half double, half double, half double with the caramel color now throughout the rest of the row there. Okay, so just wanted to be clear about that. Now just talk you through the rest of this with the changing in the cables. Okay, we're going to work a front cross here and a back cross here. It's time to close up this honeycomb, and it's also time to cross the cables here. We're going to use a We're going to use a front cross so that we keep this on the same side. Front cross here. And on the other side, we're going to use a back cross so that this stays on the surface. As far as the center goes, we just continue to grow these. We're going to be doing that for several more rows. So we're just going to work front post double crochets and then back post with the back side facing. So that's what you're going to do for those cables. So go ahead and finish. This is rows 39 and then follow that with row 40. So this is what we have after completing 40 rows. Let's go ahead and take a look at this center cable. I'm focusing on that because that's the one that changes the most. And you see we're still working on getting this to be a giant honeycomb. Still have several more rows to go before we do anything there. Let's go ahead. I've gone ahead and started work on the beginning of the next row, which is row 41. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to do for row 41. Okay, once we get here, let me go ahead and I'm going to do this with you. After working those preliminary stitches with the caramel color now, we're going to work over the rest of these stitches until we come to just one stitch left of that 5-stitch cable. Let's go ahead and switch colors here. Then we're going to work one front post double crochet, and then let's go back to that caramel color. So let me go ahead and pause so we can take a look at that. So for this cable, we're just going to work one front post double crochet. When we come back for row 42, we're going to work the back post double crochet right there with the cream, and then that'll be the last stitch that we work for that cable. And let's take a look at the other side. And again, we're going to mirror this and do just the opposite. We're going to work this in the cream, just that one front post double crochet, and then this will turn into a caramel color half double for the rest of the row. And then when we come back for the back side facing, make sure that we work this again as a back post with the cream, and then that will be the last stitch we work on the 5-post cable. All right, for the honeycombs, we're just going to continue to grow this with front post double crochets for row 41 and then back post double crochets for row 42. The same with the wavy cables, front post double crochets, of course with the half doubles, as you know, and then row 42 will be with the back post double crochets. And for this large cable, again, just continuing to grow them with front post double crochets and the half doubles, and then with the back side back post double crochets. So go ahead and work rows 41 and 42. All right, this is what you should have after completing 42 rows of the cable section. I'll go ahead and start the bottom of this center cable here, and it opens to the honeycomb, and then a little twist here, and another elongated cable, and now we're working on another honeycomb, and it's going to be time to close this up. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this from the beginning. So starting with row 43, we're just going to carry the caramel color right on across. We're not going to work anything further on this particular cable. We're just going to let the little swirlies kind of rise like that. We're just going to work straight across until we get to the honeycomb cables. The honeycomb cable, it is time to cross out again to go the other direction. So this will cross on this side with a back cross, and then this column will cross with a front cross on the other side. We're bringing it out just like we did down here. Okay, the wavy cables, time to cross these again. this cable is going to cross on this outside on top. Again, that's a back cross. And forgive me if I say back cross, I mean front cross. I'm trying to be as clear as I can verbally. With hours of instruction, it's easy to misspeak, and I have done that far too many times. So I just ask your forgiveness. If you're at this point and you say, oh, that should be a front cross, and then she said back cross, this is going to be a back cross here. But anyway, and on the other side, this will be a front cross with the cable. The large central cable, we're going to go ahead and close this honeycomb up. Again, just as a reminder, we're using double crochets where the half doubles are when we cross this very large cable. It just helps a little bit better with the front side facing. So we're going to make this a front cross, and then the two columns over here will become a back cross. Okay, and let's see, we've already covered this, and then of course this is another honeycomb, and you know what to do. This is a back cross, this will be a front cross over here, and again, just as a reminder, straight on with the caramel. Do not make anything here because this is done. So just straight across and then back. Let's go ahead and take a look at this after completing 44 rows, again focusing on the center cable. And you see we've completed the honeycomb. Now to continue, let's go ahead and we're going to start from the side. For row 45, we're going to just work front post double crochets with row 45, and for row 46, we will work back post double crochets with the back side facing, and of course the half doubles go without saying. For the wavy cables, front post double crochets and then back post double crochets for row 46. And for the large cable, we're just going to work front post double crochets for row 45 and then back post double crochets for row 46. And again, just make sure that you work all of these, and that's pretty much it. So go ahead and work those next two rows. Okay, let's take a look at the center cable after 46 rows of cabling anyway, the cabling rows. So let's take a look at, it's really coming together. Okay, so now it's going to be time to work this center cable with another twist right up here, and we can see what we're going to do. We're going to bring this out. So this is going to be a back cross. Don't forget to use the double crochets when you cross these instead of the half doubles. Okay, we'll revert back to half doubles the row that follows this, but we're going to just use that to help cross these. This is going to be a front cross. So again, back cross here, front cross here, very much like what we did down here, going out and out. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the cable here. This is the honeycomb cable, and we're going to start transforming this into just straight up. So this honeycomb cable and the honeycomb cable on the other side are not going to cross anymore. These are just going to just kind of drift upwards into smoke or steam like these did over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to work all the way across with half double crochets, and then we're going to work a half double crochet in the first stitch here only. Okay, and then work front post double crochets in the other stitches as well as you go across. Now the other honeycomb cable on the other side, just so that's even, make sure that this last stitch on this side, you're going to work a half double in the caramel color here. Okay, and then coming back, so you will just work half double crochet here as well, And then again, just back post double crochets over the rest. The wavy cable, it's time to cross this again. And this is going to be a back cross. Let me see. Yes, this is going to be a back cross on this side. And on this side, it's going to be a front cross. So you're going to do the front cross first, do the center, again, changing, crossing the cables here like we've said, and then work a back cross here. So go ahead and work that row and then follow it up with row 48. So this is what we should have after completing 48 rows. So I'll start from this end, and you'll see this stitch has been replaced with half double crochets, and we're going to do something similar going forward. But let's just take a look at what we have. And this is the central cable. Let me give you another view of that one. Okay, so now for row 49, we are going to do something a little bit different with this large honeycomb cable. We are going to actually cross the cables on this side, and we're going to do a little something fun with this as well. So I'm going to just go ahead and work the caramel section, and then I'll show you how to work the honeycombs. So now going forward, we work the half double in that stitch from the last row, and then we have 2 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and work one more. That's going to become a half double crochet. I'm going to switch back. We're going to work the next stitch, which is the 3rd stitch in that first column. We're going to work that as a front post double crochet, and let me go ahead and back this out, because we are also going to switch the half double right here, just this one, to the caramel color, and that will be the caramel color from that point on. Okay, and then we're going to work 3 front post double crochets, a half double crochet in the next stitch. Now we're going to cross this with a front cross. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches, half double in the half double, and we're going to go ahead and cross these with, like I said, a front cross. So we're going to work 3 front post treble crochets, let's try that one again. It got away from me here. Happens to the best of us. Okay, and then working in front of those 4 stitches that we just worked, we're going to work front post trebles in those 3 stitches that we skipped. And let's go ahead and switch back, and we're going to work, I'm just going to work a half double crochet here just to anchor the work so I can show you what we've just done. So as this stitch is basically, this whole cable is dissolving into steam like the other stitches have. So again, we have those 2 half doubles, a front post double crochet, a half double using the caramel color, and then back to 3 front post double crochets, half double in the middle, and then we worked a front cross with treble crochets on the other side of that. Now on the other side, we're going to do the opposite. This is going to become a back cross. So when you work these two columns of the honeycomb, let me show you, this is on the left side of the throw. This is going to become a back cross. These will still be 3 front post double crochets, front post double. This becomes a half double in the caramel, and don't forget to work the caramel stitch half double crochet right here before you finish out all the rest of the caramels. Now what about the rest of the stitches? Okay, the wavy cables, we just work front post double crochets with the front side facing, and then back post doubles, of course, with the half doubles in the middle. The large cable, front post double crochets when the front side is facing, back post when the back side is facing. Okay, and yeah, so and then the wavy cable again, front post with the front side facing, back post only with the back side facing. So go ahead and work rows 49 and 50. All right, so this is what you should have after completing 50 rows. Let's go ahead and we're just going to look at this honeycomb, which is the first cable we're going to encounter. So for rows 51 and 52, I'm going to try to explain what we're going to do here. We're going to work a front post double crochet on this stitch only as a part of this section here. And when we work row 52 coming back, we will not be working that. That will turn into a half double crochet on the row that follows 51. That would be with the back side. So to be clear, front post with the cream color for row 51. For 52, we're going to just work that as a caramel colored half double crochet. All right. And we're going to work front post double crochets on these 3 stitches, half double, and then we're going to work just front post double crochets on these 3 stitches, or these 6 stitches, and then of course the half double crochet, just working that. And then with the back side facing for row 52, we will work back post double crochets over those. Okay, for the wavy cables, we're just going to work these more normally since they're not near the part that we're phasing out yet. It's time to cross this cable. We're going to cross this with a back cross, and the one on the other side is going to be a front cross. All right, so now for the center part, it's time for us to bring the cables out again. So let's go ahead and let me show you what we're going to do. Just like what we did here, where we work a back cross and then a front cross, we're going to do that same thing again here. So this column will come onto this side, and this column will be shown on this side of the cable. So simply put, this will be a back cross and this will be a front cross. So go ahead and work rows 51 and 52. Okay, this is what we have after completing 52 rows. So for rows 53 and 54, this is the center cable. We're just going to continue growing these with front post double crochets for row 53, and then back post double crochets, of course, with those half doubles in between. The same with both wavy cables, front post double crochets, and then back post for the row that follows. Okay, for this honeycomb cable that's dissolving here, we're going to work across. We're going to work a half double in the first of this 3 front post double crochet. So work a half double with the caramel color here, and then front post, half double, and then we're going to cross this cable again. So let me go ahead and work that with you so that you understand what we're going to do. So as we work across, we're going to work half double in this stitch, and then we're going to work a half double in the first of these 3 stitches in that column. And so then we're going to switch back to the cream, and then we're going to work front post, double crochet each of those next 2 stitches. Let's go ahead and back this one out, because we are also going to go back to the caramel and work that half double crochet. And then again, let's return. After completing that half double crochet, we're going to work a front cross over this section of the honeycomb. Of course, it's no longer a honeycomb cable. We're actually turning it more into an elongated cable, but any rate, so we're going to go ahead and cross this. Go ahead and do that with you. And working in front of those last 4 stitches. Make sure we pick up that extra strand. And the other side. Here we go. Let me double check to make sure I have that. Yes. And let's go ahead and anchor this, and then I'll explain the rest of row 53. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and pause that. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so we've worked a half double with the caramel in this stitch, elongated these 2 with front post double crochets, changed to the caramel for this half double, and then we worked a front cross over the rest of this. Now let's look at the other side, because we're going to do the kind of the opposite, so that these are kind of mirror images. So on this side, we're going to be doing the opposite. So when we work across, this stitch will be the caramel. We're just going to work a half double here. We're going to change this to the caramel also with a half double here. So make sure you remember to do that. And this is going to be a back cross when you cross this, so that the images are mirrored, if that makes sense. Okay, now for the other stitches, we're just going to work front post double crochets to elongate this stitch, or the wavy cable, and then back post double crochets on the row that follows that. And the same for these 2. We're just going to elongate these for a while. So front post double crochets with the front side facing, and then back post double crochets with the back side facing, and of course with those half doubles in between. So go ahead and work rows 53 and 54. All right, let me show you the cables after 54 completed rows. Particularly of interest is where we're decreasing here, where it's turning into steam. Okay. And let's look at the other cables as well. And let's look at the other side, because it is a mirror image of what we have done on the other side. Okay, so now for rows 55 and 56, we are going to change this post stitch to a half double with the caramel color. This will remain a front post with the cream color, so we're going to work a front post double crochet and then a back post double crochet, elongating this particular strand. For this section, we're just going to work front post double crochets for row 55 and then back post double crochets, and of course with the half double in the middle. It's time to cross the wavy cables. We are going to cross this one with a front cross, so this column will remain on top. And for this, we're just going to continue to elongate these cables as well. So go ahead and work front post double crochets with the front side facing, and then back post double crochets with the back post, with the back side facing. And here we're going to have a back cross. This column will remain on top. Okay, and over here on the other side, just like what we did, this is just the opposite. Front post double crochets continue here, and then back post for row 56. Go ahead and make this a front post double crochet with the front side facing and a back post with the back side facing, and this stitch is the stitch that will turn to a half double with the caramel. So go ahead and work rows 55 and 56. All right, this is what we should have after completing 56 rows. So let's take a look at this honeycomb and the wavy cable and the center cable. And let's take a look at both sides of this just so that you see how this should look. Okay, so now for rows 57 and 58, let's talk about what we're going to do here. We're going to continue the half double crochets onto this stitch as well. So this front post stitch is going to become a half double crochet in this row with, of course, the caramel color. We're going to work another crossing of the cables here, and we're going to work a front cross just like we did down here for doing that. We're going to elongate with front post double crochets with the front side facing on row 57 and row 58, back post double crochets, and of course with the half double in the center. And the same with this cable. We're going to just continue to elongate this with front post double crochets with the front side facing on row 57 and back post double crochets with the row that follows. And again, front post double crochets, back post, just like I mentioned on the other wavy cable. And on this side, just to be clear, we're going to cross the cable here, and this is going to cross with a back cross. It's going to be the mirror image of what we do over here. So again, a front cross on this cable that is dissolving, a back cross on this cable, and just as a reminder, this will be a half double in the caramel color when you get to that. So go ahead and work rows 57 and 58, and again with all of these, with row 58, it's just going to be working the back post double crochets across those cables the way you normally would. This is what you should have after completing 58 rows of the cabling section. So now for row 59, we are going to work across with the half doubles. We're going to change this stitch, this post stitch, to a half double using the caramel color, and then we're going to work front post double crochets on the rest of those 5 stitches, and then of course don't forget that half double in between. We are going to cross this cable, and this is going to be a back cross here. It is going to be time to cross the large central cable, and let me show you what we're going to be doing. We're going to cross it, let's see, here we go. We're going to cross it outward by going out this direction with a back cross, and then with a front cross on this side. Of course, we're going to work it here. So again, a back cross here, and then a front cross here. Again, just as another reminder, don't forget that we're using double crochets in place of the half doubles as we cross this very large cable. And again, the other wavy cable is going to be a front cross so that it mirrors what we have on the other side. And over here, we're going to work front post, double crochets, and don't forget this one last stitch here is going to become a half double crochet in the caramel color. And so that will be for row 59. For row 60, we're just going to work back post double crochets the way we normally would with the back side facing. So go ahead and finish rows 59 and 60. So this is what you should have after completing 60 rows. Let's go ahead and work row 61. We're going to make this a caramel half double crochet. Let's change to the yarn color. Then this will become a front post double crochet, and then we're going to change the yarn color again because we're going to change the half double to a caramel color along this as well. Let's go ahead and change back, and then we continue on with front post double crochets, etc. I'll go ahead and pull that a little bit. All right, so let's just take a look at this a minute. The caramel and the front post and the caramel, and then we're going to have 3 front posts. Coming back the other direction, we're going to have, these are going to be back post double crochets in the cream color, and then everything else will be caramel. This will be caramel. This will change, coming back to a half double, and then half double crochets all the way across. Okay, and the same on the opposite side. This will change to a caramel with the front side facing, and then coming back, well, let me say that again, the half double crochet and this stitch here will change to a caramel, and then coming back, all of these stitches will be caramel, and the first cream color will be right here. Now, as far as the rest of this, we're just going to work front post double crochets with the front side facing on these wavy cables, and then back post double crochets. After that, the crazy cable in the middle is going to be just front post double crochets in the post stitches, and then half doubles in the half doubles. This is what you should have after completing 62 rows. The wavy cable, of course the large center cable, the other wavy cable, and the cable on this end. This again is the, because it was the, which one was it? The honeycomb cable that is dissolving into steam here. Now for row 63. We are going to continue to do this. So let me go ahead and do this cable with you. I've worked all those half doubles across, and we're going to work another half double in this first strand here. And let's go ahead and bring the other color back. And we're going to work both of these as front post double crochets. Okay, and go back to the half double. So this is what you're going to do, and on the other side as well. I'll show that to you in just a second. It's time to cross these cables again. So you're going to cross this one with a front cross for the center section. We're just going to continue to elongate these with more front post double crochets with the front side facing, and those half doubles, of course. And for row 64, going to be back post double crochets with the half doubles in between. And this will cross with a back cross. And as you get to this other, we're going to work these 2 stitches as normal, and then we're going to change this one into a
half double crochet using that caramel color. Now for row 65, what we're going to do, I've gone ahead and worked those half doubles. We're going to work one half double in the caramel that's over one of these cream color stitches. Okay, and then we're going to work this last stitch of the honeycomb in cream. And let me go ahead and switch back. Now, just to be clear, when you work the row with the back side facing, this is also going to be the cream color. So this will still remain a back post double crochet, but that will be the only stitch in this entire honeycomb that is dissolving. Okay. Now for the wavy cable, we're going to work front post double crochets with the front side facing, and then back post with the back side facing. And for the center large cable, we're just going to work front post double crochets with the front side facing, and then back post double crochets with the back side facing. And the same for the other wavy cable, front post double crochets, and of course on those half doubles, don't forget those, and then back post on the way return trip back. For this one, we're just going to work the one stitch as a front post double crochet, and then the rest, this one and the rest, will be half doubles in the caramel. And then again, when you come back, we are going to work this one as a back post in the cream, and then when we do the following rows, that will disappear. But make sure that you work this one with the front side facing and the back side facing as a post stitch. This is what you should have after completing 66 rows. So now, let's go ahead and just look at it a second. So we just have one stitch here that we're going to turn into a half double. So now for rows 67 and 68, we're just going to half double crochet. I'll just go ahead and do this with you right now. We're just going to work half double crochets all the way until we get to the wavy cable. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. And so now it's going to be time to cross the wavy cable again, and we're going to cross this with a back cross, and the one on the other side is going to cross with a front cross. And as you work over this, we're just going to work straight half double crochets. We're no longer working this cream color. So this section is expanding as we dissolve these cables. So when you get to the large central cable, it's going to be time to turn this into a honeycomb, which means we're going to work a front cross here and a back cross here with the central cable. Don't forget, when you're doing this with the large cable, use double crochets where the half double crochets are. It just helps a little bit. So if you forget, it's not a big deal, but use double crochets where the half doubles are, and then after that we're going to go back to working half doubles where those half doubles were. This is what you should have after completing 68 rows. These are the only cables that are remaining. So now for row 69, we're going to work half double crochets all the way across, and then we're going to work front post double crochets like you normally would, and of course the half double for the wavy cable. And for the same for the honeycomb, the large central cable here, we're just going to work front post double crochets with the front side facing, and back post double crochets with the back side facing, of course with half doubles where they belong. And again, front post doubles, and then back post double crochets. So go ahead and finish rows 69 and 70. This is what your cable should look like after completing 70 rows. Now, from this point on, we are not going to cross the wavy cables anymore because we're going to start dissolving them in this row.
So what we're going to do, we're going to crochet across on those half doubles. And then when we get to the wavy cable, we're going to make this stitch a half double crochet in the caramel color. All right. And then we're just going to elongate these with front post double crochets, half double, front post doubles. And on the other side, we're going to do front post doubles as normal, half double, front post double, front post double. And this stitch will become a half double crochet with the caramel color. Okay, now for the center cable, we're going to work a back cross here. So this column will remain on top. And this will be a front cross over here. This is what you should have for the cables. So notice that this has changed to a half double, and the same on this side over here. Now for rows 73 and 74, I'm going to go ahead and work these with you. I've gone ahead and worked the half double crochets all the way across. And in one of these stitches, I'm going to work a half double crochet. So that is no longer going to be a post stitch. We're going to follow this half double with a front post double crochet. But we're also going to change this half double crochet to the caramel. So make sure that you do that. And then we return to front post double crochets. I'll just finish this with you for the next 3 stitches of this cable, which is dissolving. Okay, so let's just take a look at that. So we've worked a half double crochet in this stitch, back to the cream for a front post, then a half double crochet in caramel, and then back to the cream for those 3 front post double crochets. Now when we come back, coming back this way, we are going to work this just the way you see the cream with the back post double crochets, a half double with the caramel, back post double crochet with the cream, and then finish it out with the caramel. So let's take a look at the central stitch. And for this, we're just going to work front post double crochets, half double, front post double crochets, etc. And again, when you come to this side, this cable, front post double crochet, this is going to change to the caramel, front post double crochet, and this will change to a half double caramel, and on with the rest of that. We are going to work the half double crochet. Let me go ahead and just work this with you as I describe it. We're going to work over this front post double crochet. We're just working that as a half double, and then of course the next stitch, and then we're going to work front post double crochets over the next 3 stitches. And going to the large central cable, we are going to cross the cables again. This cable is, or this column is going to cross on top. So this will be a back cross, and this will be a front cross. So you're basically doing the same thing that we did here several rows back. So a back cross and a front cross, and then as you work across here, we work the 3 front post double crochets, and then the rest will be half doubles in the caramel. Make sure you work over this in the caramel. This is what you should have after completing 76 rows. Thanks for sticking with me through thick and thin through all of this, you all. We are getting close to the end, I promise. Now for rows 77 and 78, we are going to work a half double crochet over that first of the front post stitches. All right, and then we're going to work the 2 front post stitches after that. And I'll just go ahead and work these with you. All right, and then of course switching out the yarn. And so this is how this is dissolving. So you'll have these 2 stitches elongating, and for the center we're just going to work front post double crochets and then half doubles in the half double places, and then back post double crochets. And over here again we're going to work these 2 stitches and then switch to the caramel for this stitch, so that will be the last time we work that. So just work that as a caramel half double crochet. Of course that will also be a caramel half double crochet, and you'll have 2 back post double crochets there, and as well as over here. Now for rows 79 and 80, and work those half doubles. And we're going to take one more of these stitches and convert it to the caramel. You're just going to have 1 stitch left of this cable. This is of the wavy cable. This wavy cable is really officially almost done. And so after that, we're going to get to the center part, and we're going to work front post double crochets over those post stitches, half doubles and half doubles. And when you get to this cable here, this will be a front post, just like I showed you, and this will turn into the caramel half double crochet, making this again a back post double crochet with the cream color, and again cream color with the back post double crochet here. This is what you should have after completing 80 rows of the cabling. Now we're going to do something a little different on this row. So I'm going to go ahead and work all the way. I'm going to work the half double crochets to the large center cable, because that's the only thing we're working with right now, because we're going to work half double crochets in the caramel over the remaining stitch here. So let me go ahead and start working this. I will meet you here and I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, so now we're at the center, large center cable, and we're going to turn this stitch into the caramel half double. Sounds almost like a coffee drink already. And then we are going to work front post double crochets over the next 3 stitches. Go ahead, be sure to give those a little bit of a tug behind there. All right, half double in the next stitch. Now we are going to cross these 2 columns. This will be the first time that we have done this, but let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to skip those 4 stitches. Going to work a double crochet. Don't forget to carry this caramel. Front post treble in the next 4 stitches. Now we're just going to make this a front cross, so we're just going to work in front of those last 5 stitches, those 4 front post trebles and that double crochet there. And we're going to just, let me try this again because I need to be sure to carry the yarn back behind it. and the third stitch. Make sure I have the entire, yeah, there we go. Just making sure that I'm carrying the yarn properly behind each of these stitches. Let's go ahead and give that a proper tug. There we go, so that is not too loose behind it. And then another, I'm just going to do the half double crochet there, and then 3 more front post double crochets, carrying the yarn again. And then I'm going to switch back because I'm going to turn this into the caramel. And I'm not going to carry this yarn any further because obviously the rest in the row are going to be the caramel. I'm just going to come back, and this is the only thing we're working with right now. So when we come back, we are going to actually work this stitch as a caramel half double, and this stitch will also become a caramel half double, and then the rest will be back post double crochets, and you know how you remember how to work the back post, and don't forget the half double in between. All right, everybody, this is what you should have after 82 rows. Both of these have turned to half doubles here and here. Okay, so this is where we come to the cabling part. We're going to take another one of these out. Notice how this is just coming in a lot smoothly. It's disappearing more quickly. Let's go ahead and back that so that we can have the correct yarn going forward. Okay, so we're going to work across here with front post double crochets just across the board, front post doubles, half doubles, of course. And then when you get to this stitch, this front post double crochet is going to change to the caramel half double right here. And then when you work the next row, we're going to come back along, and this stitch, that's with the back post double crochets, we're going to have, this is already going to be a half double. This will become a half double, and then of course this is a half double. The only back post double crochets you will have will be over the center 2 columns, which are making a smaller cable. And then again, this stitch here will become a half double on the pass back. This is our cable after 86 rows. So all we have now are the half doubles on the outside and the 9 stitches here in the middle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change that half double into the caramel color, just like that. So once we get to the cable portion, we're going to work another front cross, and just as a reminder, work a double crochet in that center. After working the double crochet, we're going to work 4 front post treble crochets, and then working in front of those last 4 stitches and the double crochet, we're going to work front post treble crochets in each of the stitches that we skipped. Again, a front cross, and then don't forget to change the half double to the caramel color, and then finish out with the caramel color. And then when you come back the next row, we're going to work just back post double crochets across these stitches, and of course with the half double in the middle. And go ahead and do that, and then we'll go on to the next couple rows. This is our cable after 86 rows. Now for rows 87 and 88, we are going to work just front post double crochets in all of these 8 post stitches, and don't forget the half double crochet, and then half doubles all the way to the end. We're going to work half double crochets, but we're going to work a half double crochet in the first of these cable stitches or post stitches. And again, this is on the back side pass with the back post double crochet, so this will be a half double, 3 back post double crochets. Go ahead and work a half double, 3 back post doubles, and then this will be the caramel half double crochet. This is our cable after 88 rows. Now for rows 89 and 90, we are going to work all those half double crochets. And I'm switching out the color here. So we're just going to simply work front post double crochets over each of these post stitches. Okay, so you get the idea. And we are going to change to the caramel color for that half double in the center. So as we work this caramel half double, do give the yarn a little tug on the back side to make sure that that yarn is, is taut enough. And then we work the next 3 front post double crochets. And give it a little bit of a tug there. And then back to the caramel color. So let's just take a pause and look at that. As we come back with the back side facing us, we're going to change this also to a half double crochet in the caramel. Then you'll have 2 back posts double crochets, the half double with the caramel, 2 back post double crochets, and then this post will also change to a caramel half double crochet. This is the center cable after 90 cable rows. So for rows 91 and 92, we're going to work 2 front post double crochets with the cream, half double with the caramel, and then 2 more front post double crochets with the cream, and then of course half doubles to the end of the row. We're going to work those half double crochets in the caramel. This stitch, the back side facing, will become a caramel half double. Then you'll have 1 front post double crochet, then the caramel half double, or actually this is the back post double crochet, sorry about that, and then this will become a back post double crochet, and then this will become a caramel half double. This is what you should have after completing 92 rows. Now for rows 93 and 94, we're going to continue. We're going to work this stitch as a front post and this stitch as a front post. Everything else is going to be half double crochets in the caramel. Coming the other direction with the back side facing, it's going to be all caramel half double crochets all the way across the row. And then after that, we're going to work 4 more rows of just the caramel half double crochets back and forth, back and forth. So go ahead and work that, and then I will show you how to begin the perimeter rounds. Okay, so after the last front post double crochet was worked, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional rows worked in the caramel. So the first thing I want you to do is to make sure that you have the front side of the throw facing you. And I'm going to just categorically state that every round that we work is going to have the front side facing unless otherwise instructed. I'm going to join with a slip stitch. It's been a while since we've worked with this color. We're going to join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Just let me go ahead and put this in. Just like that. And pull that back. So we're also going to work a single crochet in the same place as
joining. And we're going to be joining at the end of the round after we work a chain 2 corner. But we've got a ways to go. So what we're going to do now is we're using this smaller crochet hook. Remember the H or 8 or 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. This is very important because just using this smaller hook alone is going to close up a little bit of the space. And you could even concentrate on working, a little more tightly. And this will help to bring it in a little bit. It's not going to bring it all in, but it's going to bring most of it in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work these single crochets, if I can get my fingers to work for me, all the way to the next corner. And I'll show you how to turn the corner and how to work in the row ends. After working those single crochets all the way across the foundation row, we're going to chain 2. And we're going to work a single crochet in the same space as the last space, turn 90 degrees, and we're going to work over the row ends. Now, there's not going to be a hard and fast rule on this. The main thing I would like you to do is just to keep these stitches even. Okay, it averages as I work across this section. I'm averaging approximately 3 single crochets for about every 2 rows of the half double. It really does not matter. Like I said, I'm going to just restate what I just said. We just want to make sure that these stitches are nice and even. Not so much worry about the exact stitch count. So I am not going to give an exact stitch count because your crocheting might be a little bit tighter or a little bit looser, and you may get a different number, which is absolutely fine and will probably look better than if I give you an exact number. So again, the goal here is just evenness in the crocheting. If you find that your stitches are kind of bowing out and it's curving the fabric, then maybe you're putting too many stitches there. If it's pulling it real tight, then maybe you're putting too few. So go ahead and work that evenly to the next corner. When you get to that next corner, we're going to do another single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in that last corner stitch. Work across the top and then another corner and all the way around. And I'll show you the join at the end of this round. After working all the way around, that last single crochet will go in the same space where the first single crochet was crocheted. Chain 2, and we're going to join with a slip stitch. And now we're going to work another round by chaining 1 and single crocheting in each stitch across. When you get to the chain 2 corner, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in that chain 2 corner. So whatever your stitch count was, like I said, it's going to vary because the number along the sides can vary. It's not a problem because this is just in the best of interest to keep the sides even. You're going to increase the single crochet stitch count by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 8, by 8 stitches each round. Okay, so we're going to work one more round in this color, and then after that you're going to fasten off, join to any chain 2 space and work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet to form a corner, and then work 2 rounds in the next color. This is the medium brown color. This is the second color that we worked with in the progression. Okay, so finish this second round, and then rounds 3 and 4 will be worked in the same way with the medium brown. So this is how your perimeter round should look after 4 rounds. I'm really pleased at how this has helped to shape my throw, and I hope that's the case for you as well. Now for round number 5, I'm going to start down in the very bottom left corner. Of course, you can start wherever
on this round. And this is where we're going to add those cute little hearts. And I'm going to start in the corner so that you know how these corners are going to be worked. And they're going to be worked the same way. Okay, I'm going to join with a slip stitch. I'm going to chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. And then we're going to do another double crochet. This is just to start. Okay. Chain 1. Okay, so after that chain 1, this is just part of the heart. We're going to work 2 double crochets together as follows. Wrap the hook, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Wrap the hook, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops on the hook, pull through all 3. Now once you come back through with another round that we'll follow this with, we're going to work in the space in between these 2 clusters, and it's going to make it look like a beautiful little heart. I'm also going to have you chain 2, and we're going to add another heart, so that every corner you'll have 2 hearts, and I'll show you how to mark this stitch in just a bit. So let's go ahead and do our first. That's not starting the round. Okay, so we've wrapped our hook, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and do that again. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, get through all the strands, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and do that again. Yarn over, pull through all 3. So now we have 2 hearts, and we have a chain 2 corner. Just to be clear, I'm going to go ahead and mark my chain 2 corners with a stitch marker. And all that does is it reminds me when I come around to the next round, we're going to make another single crochet, chain 2, bring it back into the viewfinder, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, worked in the chain 2 space. It's just going to be much easier that way. Now we're going to chain 1. Now this is what we're going to work along the edges. Okay, we haven't worked in this stitch yet, so we're going to count that as 1. We're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the next stitch, we're going to work another heart. And do that again. Do 2 double crochets together. I'm trying to get my yarn off my yarn ball winder. There we go. Chain 1 on the other half. Wrap, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, wrap, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Chain 1. Don't forget the chain 1 as we go along. Skip the next 3 stitches, and then we do that again. It's half of the heart. Chain 1. Again, I'm working into the same loop for these 2 sets of 2 double crochets together, and then chain 1. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work this all the way across. Let's see, all the way across to the next corner. If I can find it, here we go. It's going to be a little bit of crocheting. Now, if you get to this corner, and let's say there's only 2 stitches until the chain 2 corner, don't worry about that. If there are just 2 stitches, then you just go ahead and work the two sets of clusters like we did here that represent 2 hearts in that corner, regardless. If you have 4 stitches until that space, go ahead and skip 4 instead of 3. If it's just a matter of one stitch, like one stitch too short, one stitch too many, don't worry about that. It's not going to be a big deal, but do be sure that you work 2 hearts, 2 sets in each chain 2 corner as you work this around. So go ahead and work this all the way around, and I will show you how to proceed from there. All right, I've worked this all the way around, and I have my chain 1, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain, just like that. And I'm going to fasten off. It's going to be time to change the colors again. Okay, and I still have my corners marked. And so let's go ahead, and I'm going to get this lighter, I guess I'm calling this the caramel color, color number 208 if you're using the same colors. All right, so let me go ahead and get this yarn so I can join. Okay, so I'm gonna join, I'm still keeping the front side facing. You can join in any corner of the throw. I'm going to join in this one with my, make a little slip stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a corner. Okay, join with the chain, and now I'm going to work a single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet. Okay, so that's my chain 2 corner, and that's what I'm going to work in every corner around. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, so now we're going to work a chain 1, a double crochet, which is in the chain 2 space, which is right in the center of what's going to become a heart. Then we chain 1 again. Now I'm going to work in the center. We have 1, 2, 3 single crochets down here in that center, or what's close to the center. I'm going to make a double crochet right there. Chain 1, single crochet in that chain 1 space between those 2 clusters there. Chain 1, and then again in the center, single crochet, double crochet, chain 1, etc., all the way around. And of course, when you get to the chain 2 spaces, you're going to work the single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in those chain 2 spaces. And let me just work this double crochet one more time so that you understand we're going around all of this. So it's going to go in here. You see how this pushes this down a bit. And chain 1. Okay, so that's what we're going to do all the way around the perimeter. All right, so go ahead and finish this round. This is round number 6. All right, at the end of row 6, I've made another chain, single crochet in between. I'm going to take my stitch markers off the corners. I don't think I need them anymore. Okay, and then chain 1, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round, first single crochet. All right, now I'm going to slip stitch to that chain 2 space, chain 1, and I'm going to make another corner, single crochet, chain 2, turn 90 degrees and do another single crochet in that same space to create a corner. And so now for this round, we're going to work in each stitch and each chain 1 space around, just working single crochets. And then we have the double crochet. We're going to single crochet in that as well. So this is a fairly easy round, and this is going to help to set off these hearts. You can look at these, and really, if you look at them from a distance, from the side, they look really nice. I've just completed round 7 by joining with a slip stitch to that first stitch, and now I'm going to join the dark chocolate, or the dark brown. This is the one we started with. So I'm going to work a slip knot, and you know how to do this. I'm going to join with a chain. I'm going to work a single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet for the corner. And you know to do the corner with the single crochet, chain 2, single crochet every time you get to a corner. And we're just going to single crochet, back to single crocheting in each stitch across until we get to the corner, and you know what to do when you get there. We're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. I'm going to work a slip stitch to the chain 2 space. Now I'm going to do something different for this last round, and this is going to help a bit with some of the inward curl you might be experiencing. This is a little magic, I guess you could say, as far as crochet goes. We're going to chain 1 and turn. We're not going to work the chain 2 corner. We're going to save that for the very end, okay, for the very end of this round. And let's see, let's take a look at the stitches. Okay, there's just one there. It looks more than that because of all of the slip stitching. So we're going to single crochet with the back side facing us in each stitch around. When you get to the corners, the chain 2 corners, we're going to continue to work the single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. And I'm going to do a few stitches here, and I want to just show you how this is going to look. So this right here is going to be the final round, and you can see already how this kind of helps to taper this edge to the outside, which is where we want it. Where it's kind of curling in here, it's going to bring it all to kind of settle down for you. So go ahead and work this all the way around. Join with do a chain 2 corner, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. And then after that, we're going to hide all of those loose ends. And as you hide these, this is where your yarn needle comes in very handy. Just be sure that you're hiding them underneath the similarly colored yarn so that they don't stand out. And I know there's going to be many to hide, but that's very doable. In order to get this into as perfect as a rectangle as possible, I highly recommend that you block this project. And I have laid this out very carefully on my blocking mats. I did have to bring some other mats in here. And I'm also using my blocking combs. And let me show you how these work. These are these beautiful combs. They come in sets. I'll put a link in the video description. They make placing the throw where you want it much more precise, and I just find that they're the easiest to use. The pins on these are rust resistant, so you're not going to have to worry about them rusting. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this down and make it very damp with just room temperature water in a spray bottle, and then I'm going to let this dry overnight, probably take about 24 hours or so. And then when I remove it, the shape will be much better. And one of the main reasons I highly recommend doing this is the section right here in the center where you have the most cabling going on. That tends to pull the fabric to the center, as you've probably already noticed. But the technique of working the border
with a smaller hook all the way around, and doing this blocking process should remove any discrepancies. I so hope that you enjoyed crocheting the Crochet Cappuccino throw with me the last couple of weeks. If you did, I would love to hear from you. I hope we're still friends. I know this was swimming in the deep end of the pool, or some may say swimming with sharks as far as needle crafts go. But please, also, if you completed your throw, I would so love to see your work, and I love sharing your work on my social media post. It is just a blessing to me to see that people enjoy these, and it's just, I think it's fun for both of us. So consider sending those to me. My email is in the video description. You can just send those to me anytime. God bless. Bye-bye.